You so crazy, crazy. Who's the craziest? I'm so crazy. You so crazy, crazy.
Oh, hey there.
Who's the craziest?
Welcome to Inside the Studio and Catch the Craze. Hi, I'm Samuel, and this is my studio. I am the producer and founder of Catch the Craze, and also I am a creator of comic books and children's books. And I'd like to take you through first our podcasting, which is Catch the Craze Podcast, and then we'll talk about some of the comic book stuff that I do. So let's look at the equipment that we use first. First I'll get into the hardware. This right here is the Rodecaster Pro. And this has been the best investment I've made with regard to podcasting. Why I love this is because, number one, I'm able to have 4 tracks, 4 microphones, headsets. I'm able to connect via my USB, my Bluetooth for iPhones for calling, and I'm able to have pre-recorded tracks. So I have our commercial breaks, we have our intros, and we have some funny stuff in between. We're able to adjust the volume. Everything goes seamlessly into the PC, which is really my iMac. And the best part of this is that it works great with OBS, which is the software, and I'll show you that in a second. And there's also a memory card inside, so that way I can record the track separately, and while I'm recording video simultaneously. And if for some reason capturing the video, the audio on the video, which sometimes happens, comes up grainy, I have a separate audio file which I could just overlay in iMovie. And then next to this we also have the Stream Deck. What I love this is that I'm able to change scenes in OBS while we're recording live, or even with pre-recorded shows. So I'm able to create the scenes and transition from scene to scene, and I'll show you what that looks like in a second. So what you see here is like the intro, the group shot. There's 3 cameras that we use for recording our live shows and our pre-recorded shows. Then I have a Samuel shot, which is a face-on shot of me, and then a George shot, which is my co-host, a computer shot, which basically shows the computer screen, a main shot, the guest shot, and our credits, and then any stuff that we do, like we did a countdown to Christmas, so we created a scene just for that. And then the microphones that I use right here, they're condenser mics. These are really cool. I have my filters on top, and this is the Samson condenser mic. Works amazingly. I've had this condenser mic for over a decade now. And so my mic flag, typical arms that we use, and the headsets, basically they're all different. This is a Logitech, and I have 4 different headsets. I used to use a Beats headset, but for some reason we were getting some reverb, After Effects on that, and we stopped. All the cameras that we use are Logitech. So basically I have a 2018 iMac, and I also have a 2007 iMac. So the 2018 iMac, I use it for all of my video, audio, broadcasting, because it has the power to support multi-cameras, and it's fast and high performance. My older iMac right here is because I have all my traditional software, my Photoshop, my Illustrator, everything that I've always had, and because I don't want to continue to, every time Mac decides to change the OS, to go and spend money on a new application, I keep that, so I do all of my Photoshop, my coloring for my comic books, and a lot of the traditional stuff there. And then I have a secondary screen here that I use, and it helps me because I like to have multi-screens. And right there, what you see there is our Facebook page for Catch the Craze Podcast. So I do a lot of my work there. I also have an iPad Pro. I use the iPad Pro a lot for responding to live chats. I also use it to illustrate on the go. So I have a stylus pen and my Mac Pro, and I really love it. I also work off of a MacBook Pro. So as you can see, I'm a big Mac guy. I'm going to move this chair over for a second, and right here I have my Wacom Cintiq, which I use to illustrate my comic books, and when I talk about that, we'll go into more depth with the comic books. But let's go into the tools that we use with OBS. So this is OBS. It's a free platform application that you're able to use, and what I'm going to do is, as you can see, that's our normal intro on OBS. You're able to set it up. This is not a tutorial on OBS, but just a quick look on what we use. This would be a camera that has a group shot with me and my co-host, and if we have a guest, the guest will be sitting right here. This would be the shot where my co-host would be sitting. This would have the computer screen, so it would be a shot on both of us, and then we'd have the computer screen right there. This is the main shot where we're talking to each other. This would be whatever the last guest we had on was J.D. Calderon. This is our top 10 Christmas gifts in our credits. So we end with the credits, and since I've been using OBS, I have no complaints. I truly, absolutely love it. I use PowerPoint, if I open it up, recent items, to do all of our promos. So the last promo I did was what? Be Our Guest. So I created everything on PowerPoint, and this was the ad that we did that's currently circulating through all of social media. Be Our Guest. So I do all of my work on PowerPoint, which is easier, quicker, faster than not doing it on Photoshop or anything like that. So that's that. And then what you see here, we have I have the Logitech webcams. I have several of them. Again, there's 3 that we use for the podcasting, and 1 that we use for that I use when I'm illustrating my comic books. So that's basically what that is. So let's take a rundown, an inventory. iPhone, all call-ins coming on the iPhone. iMac Pro, I use that when I'm answering any responses through the chat rooms when we're broadcasting live. I have the iMac to do all of the hard work, which is the editing, the recording, whether it's audio, video, the uploading. Everything happens on that bad boy right there. We have the Rodecaster Pro, it's my mixer. Stream Deck, we use currently right now for the show, we use 2 mics. I do have several mics. I have about 8 mics in the event that I have a group ever in the studio. I have the iMac 2007 version iMac, which is my Photoshop's on there, Illustrator, all of my power applications. I'm not going to upgrade. Just because I upgrade the Mac, that doesn't mean I'm going to have to change and spend a lot of money when I have a working, perfectly good software on my Mac. So I have currently several USB hubs because of all the wires and cables. We use 4 mic webcams, which are all Logitech. All Logitech cameras. I have 1 that's on the draft table for when I do illustrations. And that's what we do. So we record once a month, and we do several shows in 2 days, and which are pre-recorded, and we do 1 live show a month. So that's the inside look of what I use here on Catch the Craze, and this is my cup of joe. You might have seen the commercial. So currently this is the studio, and I have the backdrops up right now, but the backdrop comes down, and that's not good, but that's great for TV. So basically, this is our backdrop for the studio. I just want to show you what it looks like, right? We have 2. So we have 1 on this side. And one of the things when you're doing your own podcast, your show, is eliminate all of the stuff in the background. So that's what we want to try to do. And blue's one of my favorite colors, as you can see by the Catch the Craze hat and by this NASA shirt. This is our backdrop in the studio. If you're gonna do a show, have a backdrop.
I'm so crazy, you so crazy, crazy. Who's the craziest? I'm so crazy, you so crazy, crazy. Who's the craziest? I'm so crazy, you so crazy.